Hey, dude, what's going on?
Just hanging out, getting ready for this Australia tour we got coming up real soon.
Next week, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up quick. It's gonna be
Yep.
amazing, dude. I can't wait. But before we start, are they action figures in the background that I see?
They're Gundam models.
Man, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me, right?
Yeah, I
Oh,
see you got some stuff there too. Yeah.
I know my kind anywhere. I'm like, hey,
Right. You're like, I know what that is.
I know what that is. Yeah. um, well, Kyle, thanks for joining us on the show, dude. It's really cool to have you on here, man. I think you're
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
too easy, man. Too easy. Well, of course, Fallujah. Is it Fallujah? I've never got that right.
That's correct. Yeah, yeah,
It is
Fallujah.
Fallujah.
Yeah,
Fallujah, of course. There we go. I got it right once in my life.
yeah.
Coming down to Australia, as we mentioned before, with Cattle Decapitation, and it's been a little while for the band, but this is
hmm
your first since joining. Is this your first complete tour of Australia? Is this first time?
Yeah, exactly. So, Fallujah went there once in like I think it was 2016 or 2017. So
Hmm.
before my time with the band. So yeah, this is gonna be my first time.
What are your expectations of us here? Do you expect it to be Mad Max? Like,
It's funny. I'm
land.
not even saying this. Like, I honestly don't really go into tours with that much of expectations. Like, just for whatever reason, just naturally, I'm like, I'm just gonna show up, see what happens. Kind of go with the flow. That's kind of just how the lifestyle is on tour. Like, you're just on rails the whole time. Just like going through doing all this crazy stuff. So I'm sure it's gonna be an adventure. But I have no idea what to expect. I hear it's pretty rowdy in some places. I hear it should be good crowds. We'll be with Cattle Decapitation, so of course that's going to be a good time. But yeah, I don't really even know what to expect yet. I'm just going to show up, and I'm sure we'll have a good time.
Are you going to do the thing where everyone from other countries comes and makes sure our water goes down the toilet the same way, like in The Simpsons?
Oh no!
Yeah,
See, I
yeah,
hadn't even thought about that yet.
yeah. You'll be like, this shit is so weird. But
Now I will.
so have you toured with the Cattle Boys before?
No, and I don't think Fallujah has ever either. Not to my knowledge, at least. I know Scott knows some of the guys, but
Hmm.
yeah, I think it's the first time playing together.
It's pretty exciting, man. It's an incredible lineup. I mean, it's selling out
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. I mean, when we got the offer for that tour, it was a no-brainer. I think we got the offer and accepted it like the next day. Just confirmed it immediately. So yeah, of course, we're down for this.
And you're doing a headline show as well in Melbourne. So you got to go from Brisbane, which is up my way up here,
Yes.
and then you got to go all the way back to Melbourne for a solo show, which is going to be incredible. I wish I could be there for that.
Yeah, but yeah, that's right. So we've got the 6 days with Cattle Decap, and
Mm.
one of the shows is in Melbourne, but it sold out really quickly. And I think partially because it sold out, and partially also just because it's so expensive to go to Australia, and we want to play as many shows as we can while we're there. We decided to add one extra headlining show the day after Cattle
Mm.
Decap leaves. So I think they're actually doing some shows in New Zealand right after that. We're going to stay and do one more headliner, and then go home from there.
I wish I could be there for that. Man, if you knew how many people are excited to see you boys down here, like I know you can see like this
Yeah,
selling
yeah.
out, but the word on the street and on the ground, like I know so many people, like Cattle Decap are massive, but
Mhm.
you guys have a pretty solid following down here as well. Like I know people that are just like all about what you guys do. So it must be pretty cool to know that you're not just going to go to a country and go, well, we've got to sort of break in the market, but you're actually going to a place where people are like, take all my money for the merch. Take, you know what I mean? You don't have to
No,
do.
that's awesome to hear, man. Yeah, because it's like clearly, there's some excitement around it at least just from seeing the ticket sales and stuff. But yeah, it's like I feel like I won't really know the overall sentiment until I'm there. But I'm starting to hear more of what you're saying that it's like people are all stoked for us to come out. And I get it because part of it too is like I feel like those places like Australia that are a little bit more isolated from the rest of the world. It's like when bands show up, everybody comes out. That just seems to be the trend.
Absolutely. Because we're at the arse end of the world here, brother. We don't,
Right.
you know what I mean? When people come
Right.
visit, we're like, friends, friends.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, with that being all selling out, I mean, I'm not surprised but at the same time, death metal is crushing it right now everywhere.
It is, yeah, definitely. I've just seen so many of our peers and our friends' bands, just crushing it, like on like kind of reaching new levels, in terms of selling out big tours and stuff. So that's awesome. I mean, it really seems like a good time for the genre as a whole.
Oh, massively, dude. Because I remember when I was a young dude, and you'd have your cattle, or your cattle shirt, or your Cannibal Corpse shirt. People go, "Ugh, you listen to that,"
Right.
and you know what I mean. And now it's such a respected genre.
And I think you kind of see that at shows too, like what you're saying about you remember growing up and like wearing metal shirts, and it's less I don't know, just kind of seen in whatever way. But nowadays it's like not only has the sentiment changed a little bit, but like I feel like you just see more diversity at shows too, just in terms of like just the types of people there. Like you see people at metal shows that you wouldn't peg as somebody you'd expect to see at a metal show, and that's just seems to be more and more common, just in terms of different ages of people and different types of people, and just yeah, it's kind of cool. It seems like it's branching out a little bit from the stereotypical like metalhead fan base.
It's not just for us old death metal primates,
Right.
the cavemen. Hey, it's expanding. It's pretty exciting, man. But of course, Empyrean is the latest album, and it's the first to feature you on vocals, and it's been
Correct.
almost a year since it's come out. Reflecting on the album and the reception that it's got live and from the fan responses when you're meeting them, like how's that been for you?
It's been great. I mean, couldn't ask for any better in terms of the fan response, especially as my kind of debut with the band. And I had a feeling it would go over pretty well, just because when I heard the tracks, I'm like, okay, these instrumentals are crazy, and this is the type of stuff that people who enjoyed the other albums would probably be into. So I was like, okay, this music is shaping up to be pretty awesome. So I was hoping it would do well, and it did seem to do pretty well. But yeah, it's been great, and especially too with like when we dropped the album, we did a U.S. and Canada tour with Psychroptic where we played the full album front to back, starting like 2 days after the album came out, which is can be a little bit of a risk in terms of like committing to that before people even hear the album. But I just wanted to do it. I just like I'm on all the new songs. I'm like, let's play all the new songs, and the other guys were down too, so we made it happen. And yeah, that was cool. It seemed like a lot of people were excited about that, which again can just be kind of a risk in terms of like only playing new stuff.
In saying that, was it hard going into an established band like that and taking the mic, stepping up to that, and how do you navigate that?
Yes and no. It's I spent a lot of time kind of studying, like especially in terms of writing. I spent a lot of time studying what the old vocalists did in terms of not just like their tones or like the surface level stuff, but in terms of the writing tendencies and rhythmic patterns and things like that. So it was something I did try to be very conscious of and take a lot of care with in terms of like sort of fitting into the band's legacy and everything. But at the same time, it's like there's kind of a balance where you don't want to worry about that so much that it restricts you in other ways. So, I tried to kind of put myself into a place where I'm like, okay, I understand the music on a very deep level, and in terms of the old stuff and where it's going and everything. And then within that too, there's still room for me to say, this is what I want to do with the music. This is separate from what Fallujah has done. This is what gets me excited and what I want to do. And so there's the album is kind of a mix of both of those approaches, I think, like trying to sort of be the Fallujah guy, and then at moments also just being the guy that does whatever I want.
But I mean, it seems like the fan base has, embraced you with open arms. You know what I mean? Like they've welcomed you.
Yeah, that's how it feels so far,
Quickly.
man. So
Cool.
yeah.
Absolutely. You guys been I've been seeing some pictures that you guys are been dabbling with some recording. Is that right?
A little bit, yeah. So we're not like we're still writing right now. We're not
Okay.
quite recording new stuff yet. We're working on demos and things like that. But yeah, definitely new material in the works. Still in the kind of early stages. But we have a massive pile of riffs, and some of those are starting to form into individual songs. And we spent a lot of time just talking about the overall direction we want to go in terms of like big picture stuff for the next album. So yeah, we've been kind of working on that on and off for the last, I don't know, however many months, last handful of months. But I think as soon as we get back from this Australia tour, it's that's when we're gonna really buckle down and like fully get into focusing, on the new stuff.
Makes me wonder how much of our country is going to rub off on your music. It's going to be like,
Right?
you're
Like,
like,
why is he singing with an accent on this
yeah,
new stuff? Like, what happened? It's like another new guy.
yeah. What's his knifey spoony? Like
Right.
all these Australian. No, they don't drink Fosters. Mate, I will say though, I did see the pictures. What's a studio? Is it by a lake or something? It's like real schmancy. What is that?
Yeah, it's just like it's like a little cabin house out in the woods, basically. So it's not like a studio. We just brought all our gear out there, and Scott and I posted up for about 4 days, like a long weekend up there, and that's where we really started the new stuff. We're like, we're just gonna show up, start coming up with ideas, and it's basically Scott writing riffs, and I'm like trying to direct the riff canon and filter it where I can in terms of like that was cool, do that again, write that thing down, try that, but an octave up. And just sort of spending a lot of time just talking about ideas where we want to go with the new stuff. So yeah, that was this one like weekend long session we spent at that cabin out in the mountains.
That looks incredible. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
it's like that's a way to write instead of like
yeah.
you know smelly room with like crammed in together.
It was really productive too. Partially because of the environment, partially just because we were able to just get away and get rid of all the distractions. It's like just from pretty much the moment we wake up, we go get coffee, and then the rest of the day until the late hours of the night are spent writing music and trying out different ideas. And yeah, we got a good handful of songs that aren't fully fleshed out, but like probably 3 or 4 like pretty complete songs from that one weekend session, which was nice.
That's awesome, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, you guys are quite active online, and I dig your playthrough videos. Have you had anyone else sort of do their own versions that's impressed you, where you've seen people sort of their own cover video?
Yeah, I've seen some cool clips for sure. I see. I feel bad because sometimes I miss them. I'm not always checking the Fallujah Instagram or Facebook pages every day, but yeah, I've seen a good number of covers, like some of the solos and riffs from Empyrean, which is always cool. Saw 1 or 2 vocal covers on YouTube, which is nice. That's a little bit less common, I think.
Did they nail it?
Yeah, yeah. There's one guy. I don't remember the name of his channel or anything, but somebody did the song Eden's Lament from our album.
That's sick. That's really
It was
cool.
good from what I remember. That's a little while back. Yeah, if you're watching this and you got him, send him our way.
Yeah, do it.
Check him out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Of course, your buddies Rivers and Nile in the country right now.
Yep.
You filled in for them recently. How was that? Jumping
That
on.
was awesome. Yeah, they've been our good friends for a while. Like even before I joined Fallujah, I knew one of the guys from way back in the Bay Area from before he was in Rivers and Nile. And they've known the Fallujah guys for a long time, and then we toured together twice last year. So it's like we've spent a lot of time together by this point. So filling in, it's like they're already our good buddies. Figured it would be fun hanging out with them on the road, and it was. And yeah, it was awesome. Kind of nice too, just like stepping in for like 6 days. It's pretty casual in terms of like I came in at the tail end of the tour, and everybody else was all exhausted from being on the road for like 5.5 weeks already, and I'm just showing up all fresh and ready to do some shows. So I feel like on tour it's usually around the 2 week point that people start to get tired. That's when there's a bit of a change in the energy. So I was just on that like first week of tour high the whole time. So yeah, went well.
That's all. That's awesome. That's awesome. Of course, your other project, Archeologist, recently released the Elements album. Right?
Yep, yeah, that's right.
Man, it's pretty damn good. Hey, like I really dig it. The vinyl looks amazing too.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, that was my first time doing like proper vinyl for Archeologist. I've dabbled with it a little bit before. Like I've found kind of janky like print on demand type of vinyl places online.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yes, they can make a record, but it costs more than you'd even want to sell it for to make it. And it turns out kind of weird where like the packaging is really flimsy and kind of papery. So this is my first time doing a legit full vinyl run for Archeologist. And yeah, thanks for checking it out, man.
Yeah, are you bringing some down? You're gonna sneak some on the plane and
maybe. I probably should, huh? I should.
Yeah.
I brought him on the last tour, but that was easier because it was a US tour, so we just had all our stuff in the van. It's more about transporting the records in. Maybe I can sneak them in my carry-on or something if I can avoid them getting smashed.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
I'll bring some CDs at least. Maybe vinyl. We'll see.
Yeah,
I should,
bring a
huh?
couple of vinyls if you can. Don't even worry about clothes, mate. Just just your
Yeah.
one
Yeah. Right.
just one one set of clothes, and then just shove the rest full of vinyl, and
Right.
then you can buy more. You can buy some like Australian shirts while you're down here.
You're making me think about it, man. Because
See?
that it's funny. I don't even know if I'm not sure if we're bringing Fallujah vinyl on this one because I know most of our merch on this tour is actually being printed in Australia. So like we're
Oh
printing
yeah.
shirts and hats and some other stuff there. Um, I mean, a lot of this is handled by our manager and everything. So
Yes.
maybe they're shipping in some records I don't know about, but as far as I know, all the merch is being made in Australia
There you
because
go.
just because it's so expensive to ship stuff there. So maybe I'll smuggle some of my own stuff.
Hey man, should just send some down. But anyway,
Yeah.
if not, I'll have to grab one off your online stores, and I'll have the links to that one down here as well. But
Yeah, thank you, man.
of course, you've also come back. 7 o'clock. Let me back that one up. You compose music for a video game called Duelist 2, which is pretty cool, right?
Yes, yeah, correct. So
Man,
that's a game that's or sorry, you go on first, let you
no,
finish your
no,
question.
you judges, you do the thing.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say, so that game is it's out right now. It's playable, but it's in beta, which whatever that means nowadays. It's like they're still working towards the full release of the game as they're adding more features and things like that. And my soundtrack for the game is in a similar state where I have music that's in the game, but my soundtrack isn't finished yet. And the only reason I put it online in terms of like you can find it's labeled as the alpha version of my soundtrack on Spotify and all that.
Hmm.
It's 9 songs right now, and the only reason I released it in that form was because when they started doing play tests for the game and making it playable publicly, all the songs were ripped and put up on YouTube immediately anyway. So I was like, okay, the music's on the internet. I might as well have it on my own proper channels instead of just on some other random guy's YouTube channel. Yeah, long story short, I'm still working on it actually, even though part of it's out. So that's the other thing I need to finish up when I get back from Australia is to do the new Fallujah album. I need to finish that soundtrack and do another handful of songs at least. And then probably have the complete soundtrack come out when the game goes into like the full release, which sounds like sometime early next year.
That's pretty exciting, man. Is that you want to do more of that sort of thing?
I would love to, yeah. Yeah, this one is it's like a small indie game, and it's Duelist 2 is the name of the game. And the first Duelist was something that I played a lot while it was out before it got shut down. And kind of met some people in that community just from, it's like a small indie community while I was playing that game. And that's how I got in with doing the soundtrack on this sort of remake sequel version of kind of the revival of Duelist was because I just knew people in the community, and when they said that they were looking for people to contribute as like programmers and game developers, I just got in at a good time and had a chance to work on the soundtrack with them. So it's my first time doing a video game soundtrack. And again, this is kind of more of like an indie thing it started out as like a unofficial fan project, and now it's kind of evolved from that. But long story short, it's like once I have this soundtrack done and on my resume, I would love to try to seek out other similar work.
That'd be really cool, man. Maybe even
Definitely
some
some.
film, some
Yeah, maybe.
pictures and stuff. That'd be cool, man.
Whatever I can get, man.
Yeah, man, you're good at doing that stuff, man. Or two.
Thanks.
Yeah, but of course, apart from that, you've got this tour next week. We'll see you in Brisbane. But what
Nice.
else? What's the future look like going into next year? Apart from that, an album and composing and more touring.
Yeah, that's most of it. We're definitely gonna have some tours lined up. Nothing announced yet for next year, but we have one that I think is basically confirmed, and a couple more that are sort of in talks. So we'll be doing a lot next year, but it's all that's still sort of in the works. And definitely hoping to get new music out next year too. Gonna try to have this next album written as soon as possible. Really, maybe try to record like early next year if we can.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be the bulk of it going forward. Then I always have stuff sort of on the back burner with Archeologist that I'll work on when I have time. But that's pretty much it. Just do that forever as long as we can.
That sounds awesome, man. That's the way to do it. But in the meantime, we will see you in Brisbane, and we'll have all the links down here to the full tour. If there's still tickets left, because man, hey man, if you snapped them up, you snapped them up. But
I know right now half of the shows are sold out as of today. So yeah, 3 shows sold out. I think the other 3 are getting close. And then we have the headlining show at the end of the tour as well.
Man, that's going to be incredible. Well, we'll have all the links anyway down here and on the website. Brother, thank you so much for hanging out on the show. And if I see you in Brisbane, we'll have a beer and we'll talk some nerdy stuff, talk some Gundam.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, come say hi. I'll be doing merch, so I'll be easy to find. Yep.
Yeah, cool, man. I'll come up and say hello. Sure.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. I'll see you there then.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Take care.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.